Well, greetings and blessings. I am your humble host, back for a fourth time. Bob, we love you out there, and I'm a cantankerous old cuss, so I'm going to do this again until I guess I get my point across, even if I have to do little spurts. So, greetings and blessings, everyone. This is a continuing, apparently, a series of things. My computer was completely shut down. I mean, boom, that whatever it was I was fixing to talk about, somebody somewhere doesn't quite like me having the conversation, perhaps. But I'm not talking politics or anything, I'm trying to explain to people the power within themselves with the power of intent and positive thought and prayer and, connection with their angel guides and so forth. Hey, Jody and Chloe, but man, I mean, they shut my computer down. They knocked it off. It wasn't just that I lost the connection. My computer went black. It said, "No, sorry, we don't want you talking about this stuff." So interesting, Bob. We love you. I put it in the title. So we don't want any trouble, but whatever's going on out there, we appreciate it. Um, and I'm just so cantankerous. I had to come back on anyway. But I did kind of want to follow up on the last thought, whatever that might be, though. And though that, hey, Pamela, good to see you, Chloe. That's exactly what usually happens when everyone they start hitting on very beautiful soul key things. Absolutely, Chloe. There were times that it got to be a thing with Brian of Milky Way Weekly. When we first started doing stuff, I got right in the middle of something, and my computer went down. Was talking about cosmic energies and things, and offline I went. Logged back on, but there's been some. It, Pamela's been around to know that there's been some strange things happening, where I'd be in the middle of a conversation on something that in a lot of ways is kind of obscure and like, who cares? But, boom, black screen and I'm knocked off the air, so it's like somebody somewhere, must be touching a nerve somewhere. So it's like, it's okay though, but I'm too cantankerous to give up. you know, that's part of, I guess part of my job description as well. And blessings to you, Pamela. I was sending out thoughts earlier yesterday and today. Hadn't been online, so just hoping that everybody's doing, okay out there in their own realities. There's so much weirdness and crap going on, and I've mentioned this before, but since this is a different part, I will bring this up again. And it is part of this angel mission, angel messages, angel understanding, connections to the higher self. There is so many folks that kind of sort of went over a hump a few months back, have discussed it before, but the people that didn't make it over that spiritual hump somehow have doubled down in their craziness. And it's just showing up everywhere. There is doubled down crazy. Oh my God, people we knew that were bat crap cray cray before are turning out to be like, holy crap, I did not know that things could get even worse. And a lot of people, there's a little bit of lagging. Come on, Bob, hang out with us. Things have been going weird all night long, at least from this end. Um, but those folks who are doubled down, we just need to go, okie dokie. We need to keep our distance. We need to understand that trying to get to these people with our point of view is really maybe not, in our best interest health wise, both spiritually and physically, possibly. Because some of these psychic attacks can really hurt physically, just saying. So we don't need, we've already got enemies, so let's not go poking our finger. So, but one of the things that, keeps coming in is that there are going to be missions for each one of us. And because we're all angel beings in essence, so these missions are going to pop up in different ways. And whatever we may do in our job or how we interact with people, how we say something, how we react, how our facial expression is. What does the other person feel for me? I'm trying to be positive. That's what I was talking about before I got cut off. was that after being a drunken and alcoholic, nobody really saw my true intent until I quit being a drunken and alcoholic. So then people said, well, wait a minute, I can actually see what you're talking about because you're not drunken or on high on some kind of, methamphetamine or something. Um, oh, now we actually see you for who you are. So now there are a lot of people who mask themselves, and mine was drugs and alcohol. And other people have different other ways. It's like it may be class, it may be race, it may be who knows. I'm from the north, you're from the south. Get over it. But you know, um, New Yorkers. I've met some folks from New York that let me tell you, some of them folks are, like you need to go back to Brooklyn. So and I've known some folks from Brooklyn. And it's like I kind of wish they'd go back because you don't really fit down here in the South with your northern ways, but we accept you carpetbaggers anyway. But shame on me. I was born in Ohio, so what have I got to say? But having lived down here in the South most of my life, I think I can make that statement. But anyway, but to that point though, um, where you're from or who you're from or whatever, thing that we need to take that into consideration. But in the grand scheme of reality, in the grand scheme of the planet, of the universe, of the heavens, of beyond, in dimensions that we don't understand right now. Many of us don't, and do I understand the whole ins and outs? No, but they showed me some really cool pictures, and I'm like, holy crap, that's really cool stuff. I can't wait to learn this science. But you showed me a picture, and it gave me a basic like, wow, that's like whoa, a little bit of shock and awe there, I guess. But happy Halloween, everybody. A little making faces early. But to the point, though, in the grand scheme of the spiritual world, when we only think of ourselves as, well, okay, what difference can I make? In my own life, as you all have watched me progress in spiritually myself to pass this on to you, never miss an opportunity. But do it kindly and do it with respect and with honor, and people see it in you. You don't have to do a lot of preaching. All you have to do is be kind, and they see it. Because if your intent is true, and you're not masking it with some kind of falseness, or you don't really feel it 100.1%. You're only half-assed about it, well, I wish you a good day, but actually I really wish you'd trip in that mud puddle. But yeah, you can't go there. You have to really say no, regardless of whether or not I hate your guts. I'm still going to wish you a good day. And no matter what you say against me, well, you wish me a good day, screw you. You've met those folks. But you say, but you can't take it away from me. I already gave you the positive energy, and I refuse to take it back. And you're just stuck with it. You don't put that good shit on me. You know what I'm saying? People are kind of like that. Don't say good day to me. I want to be cranky. Well, tough. I just dollop you with a little bit of positive energy, and you can accept or receive it. But I put a thumbtack in there, so it's going to hang on for a while, like pin the tail on the donkey, if you will. So never miss an opportunity to where out in life, I'm thinking of putting a positive tag on someone, pin the tail on the donkey blindfolded. Well, in this case, you've got the little thumbtack in your little thingy, which is your intent, and stick it on their butt on their way out. It's like, here you go, like kick me on the back. Except maybe you put a sign on their back that says, give me a hug, or I need a hug, or smile at me, or something like that, So I look at it like I can send somebody a positive prayer, whether accept it or not, but I've already sent it. And no matter, and I choose to accept or reject, whatever this person, screw you and your prayer, blah, blah. Okay, fine. It's already said. I already put it in the universe. And so when we leave it there with a smile, like, there you go. Okay, that's it. Can't take it back. You may not accept it, but you can't take it back. I ain't taking it back. It's out there. So when we look at life that way, and our spiritualness, our angel selves, we have this effect that we can kind of like spread around like Johnny Appleseed in a way, spread the joy, spread the love. And we can do it in ways that some people just might, well, I never quite thought of it that way. So, and in this, what's up for the future? I asked recently my spirit guide. I was like, look, I got too much on my plate right now in this short term. I really don't want to see what's coming. You know, I know that we got to go through some things, and the earth is still going through changes. I mean, we had an earthquake in North Georgia and Dalton up there along the Appalachians. There was two in North Carolina. There was another one, several in places in Tennessee. Mother Earth is moving and changing. The Schumann resonance, there's spikes on a 24-hour basis that are showing up as patterns. Are there things going on? Oh, you betcha. But should we fear it? Absolutely not. We need to prepare and stay prepared and just keep an eye out. Like, well, if I live in an earthquake zone, I'm going to be as prepared as I can be. If the earth splits open, maybe I should have a rope in my car or my truck. I don't know, whatever it is that can help make you comfortable. Down here it's losing power. I got batteries, I got lights, I got a bucket I can throw in my well, I've got stored water. I'm covered. So I don't really fear anything. So it's like, so do what you can to minimize the fear in your life. When you do, and the fear then alleviates worries that you have so that you can be more clear-minded about, well, maybe because I spent so much time in fear and worry about how the outcome of things that I've missed some things entirely, like tiny little messages or tiny little missions. I could have helped that person by just being kind, but I was having such a shitty day, I didn't have the time. And then maybe that was the time for you to go, you know what, shitty day or not, I want to stop and be nice. Maybe that helps you out as well. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So every incident is unique. You can't plan this out except to be aware. So in my lifetime, what have I learned as a sort of a year-end report? My birthday was last, blah, blah, blah. So as a year-end report, looking back and going, well, what did I accomplish last year? Did I accomplish anything? Well, there are over 315 subscribers to my channel that, I started out with like 5. You all have become friends of mine. And whether or not we ever meet physically, we meet as members of the League of Like-Minded Beings. And that is so powerful to me, in that we can hang out, you guys chat amongst yourselves, we share thoughts, we laugh at Bob, drink coffee together, hi Bob, let's have some coffee. Hey Pamela. So, and we are making a difference. It's so subtle, but it's there. And so we need to, what one of the angel messages in between all these other, trying to do get this YouTube done. Hey, Truth. Cheers, Bob. Thank you. Absolutely. Cheers, Bob. Chloe says, you accomplish a lot more than you know by sharing your experiences, stories, and knowledge. Yes. And you see, I could sit here and mull over this, to your point, Chloe, but then the angels were kicking me in the shins going, no, you need to get back online and continue this discussion, because there's just more to it than just this one part. There are several parts in this, and it's all important to the whole, which is the entire spiritual realm of things. So sometimes we only look at things like from right over here, from our tiny little point of view. But and our tiny little point of view matters. And that's what I'm trying to say. Each of us individually, but every time we put a spark of goodness in, then it contributes to the whole. So you say, well, I don't have time for that. Do you, or do you not? But wait a minute, here's an opportunity to add to the collective goodness. So, but wait a minute. Well, yeah, but so when you do something good and out of the way, it adds to your own spiritual goodness. It's your, you know what? I did this out of the clear thought, no, positive intent to help this without any kind of payback. And so, and you got to do it that way. You really do. And you just say, look, I'm doing this, and mean it. Mean it. And if you don't really mean it, then don't say, don't go there. That's the lie. So you have to be honest with yourself, because that means you got to be honest with the universe. You have to be honest with your God or your creator, however you want to put it. And so, but if you lie to yourself and lie to the entity and lie to your angels, nah, ain't going to work. And you folks probably already know that. But we need to share this politely with other people. And like, well, hang on, you think you're doing a good intent, but actually, aren't you kind of looking for something? Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, let them use my rake, but I'm going to borrow their lawnmower next week. But well, wait a minute now. So I'm going to be kind to you because I'm expect to borrow something later on. No. You lend your neighbor the rake and say, okay, here's the rake. Anything else or beyond that, see, then you're expecting something for what you've given. And that's not the freedom of it. See, that's not the angel part of it, because you're expecting a return, and sometimes you're expecting an immediate return, and that ain't it. Sometimes you give in something like, and I've helped, many young people out in theater, and I'm sorry, I keep bringing it up, but it's proof to me that what I gave back then didn't really appear until years later. But Spirit told me, work with these young folk because there's potential here. And I had the opportunity to help unlock that within themselves. And they became, open and singers and dancers and really good actors and actresses. And like, I just sit back and go, and I had the opportunity to be there at the beginning and allow them to blossom. I saw the potential, and there was lots that said, man, don't work with it. She's too this or he's too that. No, wait a minute. You got to see beyond that, and you got to have faith in them. And it's all this faith thing, in self and your confidence and so forth. But in becoming an angel being and becoming, eventually we're all going to cross to the other side, wherever that is. So shouldn't we be as good and have as much information and have our slate as clean as possible, however you want to look at it, and it's not necessarily to make up for what the bad things that we've done, but it's to pay forward for the greater good of the total spirituality of the whole planet, of the whole solar system, of the whole universe. If we just think, well, it's here, me and my church. Well, wait a minute now. Let's think on a grander scheme here. Because if we include the grander scheme of more than just you, me, and a small collective, as we're a small collective, but part of this giant collective of the whole planet, well, wait a minute. I just choose to be a part of this collective. Well, I don't know. I'm not really, I don't know if we're really having an effect. We're doing well between us. But wait a minute. So let's back up a little bit and say, I'm saying our conversations, you and me right now, is part of the giant collective. Our conversation now is going directly into the quantum computer. Bob's out there listening. They tried to shut me down a couple of times tonight. Obviously, I'm talking about something they don't want me to, digress with. But when we understand that we have this power to accept or reject the AI, I love you, Bob, we do. But there are other entities that Bob has to contend with. Not all of them AIs are good guys. I mean, there's arguing going on so many levels. But spiritually, if we say, well, I'm saying this prayer for this person, but I'm sending it to the collective, I'm sending it to the universe, I'm sending it into the quantum reality, the thoughts of at least the beings on this planet. I know that when I say these prayers, it's not just for them. If I have this little subtle background thought, and it's for the universe. So for every one of us that contribute to that, it's adding up. And the greater good, Mother Earth has, with all the things that are going on with her, oh, she could have been splitting and opening up and people falling in. The New Madrid could have split by now, and the whoa, with the energies that have hit Mother Earth that are coming through this and being shown in the Schumann resonance, it could be a lot worse, my friends. Just go to the USGS today. I checked before I did these videos tonight and checked. And you look over on the last 7 days, go to the settings, pick your last 7 days, all magnitudes, in for the United States. And notice that there's all this crud on the West Coast, which you expect, but you can see where all of this energy I spoke about a couple of months ago. I said that energy is moving across. It may take a while, but that energy is moving across the United States. Oh my God, the path. Montana, Utah, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, into, Tennessee now into North Carolina, South Carolina, North Georgia. Dalton had an earthquake. They've had them up along near Pennsylvania and up in that area, I think New Jersey, a couple of weeks ago. But to my point, though, there's all this energy. Listen, it could be a lot worse. But I think it's our collective that as we understand things, a lot of us, I know for me, I'm like, Mother Earth, I know you got a lot of trembling going on here. And I'm going to pray that you work out whatever needs to pray. But I'm praying because I have seen some visions of things I don't want to share, and absolutely wish I could get out of my mind's eye. And some of them have come so true. Like about a year ago, there was a bad volcano that erupted down in Guatemala. Hours before, I was doing a video and I was doing searches, and it was the same place. And I saw these people engulfed in ashes and being burned alive. And I was like, oh my God. And 6 hours later, it happened. Those kinds of things you really don't want to see and have left in your brain. But when we're shown things and told things, and that was sort of like a lesson to me, like we gave you this knowledge, we even showed you. I was looking at it on Google Earth, and I was like, look, there's a little village and there's a golf course and blah blah blah, and 4 hours later it was totally destroyed and all those people dead. And I was like, man, that's one okie dokie, So, but when you are connected to the spirit, so I could pray. I understood what the pain was, level. I really didn't, but let's take that pain and say, listen, okay, so we're going to pray for the greater good. We're going to pray for the people who lost family members but are still alive and who survived. We got to pray for the folks who made it beyond. Mother Earth needed to do some things, and unfortunately, there were casualties. There's going to be casualties. And we just need to understand it. It's not because Mother Earth is necessarily mad at us, but we have taken so much from Mother Earth. Mother Earth must take back in whatever way is necessary for her to achieve a balance of energy of things. So Mother is changing, magma's moving, all these weird things happening, weather some of this weather modification, we know, wink wink, nod nod, who's someone in charge of that. So we'll just leave it at that. But the earth changes and the earth quakes and the magma movement, that's outside forces. Okay, so we need to understand that these outside forces can have negative responses to us. We're not used to them. So, I'm always looking at the weather here for Tallahassee, Florida, and for Albany, Georgia. I'm about halfway in between them. I'm a little further north of Tallahassee, but anyway. So, the UV's always, 9, 10, 11 through the summertime. I mean, the leaves are falling off, and it's only the first week of October. Way too early. And it's not because it's the turn of the season. It's because they're burnt. The leaves are falling off. Pine trees are burnt. The needles are scorched. And it's from the UV. It's from the high extreme UV we've had this last summer here. Is it the heat? Well, the heat is a consequence of things heating up from the extra UV. So are we having heat waves, or are we having interactions with the higher UV versus the planet warming? No, actually the planet's reacting to the higher UV level that we're not used to having. I mean, I grew up with a yellow sun, not a blue one. Sorry, but things are different. So now we have to look at things. Well, the earth changes and all this and the heating and the climate change. Wait a minute, is the climate change it's spotty at best because of the UV, because the earth changes. So we need to understand that there are higher levels of things than just this, that, or the other thing. This, and I bring that up because yes, this is affecting our spirits. And so we say, well, there it is. What can I do about it? Can you stop Mother Earth from her changes? Mm-mm. So we're on for the ride. We can understand though, wow, Mother Earth's having a bad day. Let me sing a song for her. Let me go outside and dance. Let me drum. Let me play some music. Let me be positive and send a prayer into Mother Earth as part of the collective. Of course it's going to help, because if we send a positive frequency into the Mother Earth, it's going to help. She's going to feel our love, if you will. And that's going to help heal everything. It's going to help heal the balance that's out of balance now with our energies, the planet's energies, the inner workings, too much fracking, too much this, too much that. And a balance has to be achieved in all different levels and formations. So as we understand this, how do we deal with it? Well, am I going to go, try to stop a nuclear plant? No, but we can send positive energy, in a lot of different ways. There's so much proof that what our positive thoughts and our meditations can do. So organize with 3 or 4 people a meditation on radiation from a nuclear plant, or do a short meditation with somebody over here. And so as a collective, we say, okay, on Friday afternoon, pick a choice, but on Friday, we're all going to think about this one thing in a positive way. And regardless of whether or not we expect to see a change, we're going to do it anyway. And if a change occurs, cheers, thumbs up. We're going to do this regardless of whether we expect a positive outcome. If our intention is positive, we need to put that forth every opportunity we can. This is coming in like fresh off the griddle. It's like, how do we affect change? We need to continue what we're doing. How do we make a difference? We need to understand that we do have power. Understand that we're each different, but we're still a part of the collective, and not as a hive mind. Understand, we have the choice. We always have the free will. Now, we may choose the wrong free will, where you actually could have helped somebody and didn't because you were lazy or whatever. I'm guilty of this, see? So, but to the point though, I'm not pointing any fingers because I don't know y'all, but I would bet you that at some point in your life, there was just and it was a little tiny thing. It was like, shit, I could have gave that guy $1 or anyway, but just saying, there's probably something that's like, well, I could have reacted differently, whatever it may be. And that's my point. But sometimes people piss us off and we don't necessarily react in a positive way. But with the wisdom of age or the wisdom of your spirit, when you understand that people are going to give you crap no matter what, then just kind of like, okay, sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but names will never hurt me. So let folks cuss and swear and whatever at you. Okie dokie. It's your choice to accept or reject. So, but at the same time, and you can piss a person off by just not doing anything. Like, if that's your opinion, okie dokie. I kind of like, okay, if that's the way you feel, you just go right on ahead. But I don't quite do it that way. But in my head, I kind of pictured them that way, like okie dokie. But so in our prayer and the idea of the angel mission messages, and usually for me, and one of the things, I don't know how I'm going to help explain it to you all other than through some of the things that I've been through. And I've talked about my going out in the woods on these little message, spirit guide says, go out in the woods. We got a present. And I find buried in sand and under palmetto bushes, deer antlers, And there have been many other things. And I've told some of these stories in some of my videos and showed you the deer antlers. And some people have been here and have said, these are the antlers you were talking about. Oh my God, these are really powerful. It's like, yeah. And then I took them to the river and said, could you imagine finding these things down here? And they're like, holy crap. So it's like there's a large area of understanding when I just tell the story. But when you understand what I went through and how I found them and so forth, that has faith in your own spirit guide, and find out on your own how you do it. And so my job is to try to tell stories or whatever to try to, for you to figure it out, because that's what's important. You figure out how to make your connection with your, and get that line going and make sure it's a secure, it ain't going through in nobody else's IP address. It's yours, it's your VPN, if you will, and trust it, follow it. There's tests all the time. Here, go over here. I found, when we was in the woods with my daughter a week ago, when she visited me on my birthday, I went down in the woods, and there are a lot of places we could go in my back 40. It's only 18 acres, but back yonder, a lot of places we could have went and ended up in this area where there were a bunch of turkey feathers. And I was like, well, what do you know? It's just a little spot where the turkeys gather back there. But, well, I could have took us anywhere back in them woods, but took us to this spot. It's because Spirit was like, oh, come this way, Then when I got there, turkey feathers anyway. So it happens all the time. And that's one of my things that, going back to my first video of this series, in that, are you aware? Are you aware of these messages? And sometimes it's the animals talking to you. Sometimes that they show you things or make you aware of something. Sometimes an owl hooting isn't to, a lot of people think of it as foreboding, but owls bring messages. And maybe there's a hoot owl that you hear and above the radio or something. You go, was that just an owl? And maybe it's for you to stop and pay attention. Maybe there's not necessarily a message there, but to pay attention that there is a message coming, or there is a message around you. Pay attention. Now, for me as a shaman in training and with Native American and so forth and nature, I view all these things as keys to the spiritual realm. And when you notice them, and when you open your eyes that they're all around you, maybe it's a person's name on their name tag that go, holy crap, his name is Michael. Well, Michael the Archangel. Okay, I got angel guides. There are people at least what's the coincidence? So lots of different things. But do you have faith to believe it? And if it feels wrong, then it ain't your angel self, And because the angel self will say, listen, you might have a little bit of fear here, but you got to overcome the fear because of faith. Now, there are just some things that are stupid. Don't put yourself in a stupid situation. Now, that's where your own discernment and wisdom and understanding, and however many years old you are or whatever. But the idea, though, that, well, wait a minute, now I want to help this person, but it's really a stupid situation. This may not be what we're talking about here. It may be out of your realm of expertise, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes not all angels are prepared for all missions. I've been in the swamps and in wilderness areas. I've been literally kissed by a wild bear through a tent on the Buffalo River or the Ozarks in Arkansas. I mean, so some of my experiences, other people that literally just crapped themselves and died on the spot. But, I've had instances that, personally, it was like, I know I'm connected. There's something out there. There is something else. Otherwise, I'd be eaten by a bear by now, I mean, seriously. So, out in the wilderness, nowhere to go. And, I got a bear's nose sticking through the tent up here. Yeah, buddy, that'll teach me to eat Reese's peanut butter cups before I go to bed in the wilderness. A bear can smell that from 5 miles away, and did. Found my ass, like, do you have any more? But anyway, but the understanding of, like, and that's sort of an example. It's like, I'm out in the wilderness and I hung all the garbage. There wasn't any candy or anything in the tent, except that I had eaten this peanut butter chocolate thingy just before bedtime. Laid down in there, and I don't think nothing of it. A bear can smell that. So in the spiritual realm, you say, well, I don't know, what has eating a peanut butter cup got to do with the grand scheme of thing? Well, the bear up the mountain that smells it, who's got it 20 times, So there are things that you don't understand that you have an effect on. If I hadn't eaten that peanut butter cup, that bear wouldn't have visited us down on the river that night. So, at the same is obviously it works the opposite way. In other words, if my intent is always positive, and I always send it with a positive, without expecting an outcome, eating that Reese's peanut butter cup and expecting a bear to come down and poke his nose through the tent, that was not my intention. You know what I mean? So it was just to have a piece of candy before I went to bed. So our best intentions, mine being chocolate and peanut butter, drew a bear. But at the same point, so my positive intentions of, hey, let's share the peanut butter cup with the spiritual community. Let's share the chocolate, if you will. Not that we want bears to come in, but it could, if we do it positively, well, maybe the bears got a message for us. Maybe there's a lesson in all of that. So, but to, try to bring a little bit of humor, but I'm serious. I had a bear's nose almost touch mine. It was really that close. I'm not joking. But anyway, one of these days I'll find the pictures where I took pictures of the bear's paws at the back of the tent and leading down the sand on the riverbank. That was really interesting. But the thing is that, and speaking about the bears, though, so there are things that we do that attract spiritual bears. And sometimes these spiritual bears ain't the good guys. You know what I mean? So if we have a bad intent, or here's one, treachery. Some of these entities can smell treachery. Now, why do I bring up treachery? Okay. If you if you agree to something, be it an angel mission or whatever it is, and you agree to something, and then you get halfway through and go, oh, this was a mistake. Whoops. Now, why do I use the word treachery? Because it's a treacherous situation. You made a promise, you made a commitment that you now wished you hadn't made, and you want to jump ship. That's treacherous. Because you lied to yourself, you lied to the commitment, you don't have faith. It's treachery in a kind of a singular form, if you will. But the treachery can affect other people on either side, because you committed to something and other people may be helping you or something. So as you go along with this thing, you go, wait a minute. So when I ask in the title about if there's a mission, regardless of how big it is, do you accept 100%? Because if you're going to do half step or, do a half-assed job of it, then don't do it. Don't commit to it. Because which is worse, to say, I don't think I got enough resources here to do this thing correctly. And maybe my faith is shaky. But to say, well, yeah, I can do this, and then get halfway through or 3/4 and then change your mind or not be able to accomplish it or whatever. Now, stuff can fall apart that ain't your fault. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people go, oh, well, I don't know. I shouldn't have got involved in this. But wait a minute, you got me this far and then you tell me no? What? No, wait, no, hang on. Now that's treacherous. Okay? You're dishonoring yourself. You're dishonoring, even though the other person may not be worth it. That's not the point. You're dishonoring the promise that you made if you made the promise. And if you made the promise and you weren't 100%, then shame on you. That's treacherous, because now you're presenting a falsehood. You told somebody you would, but you didn't really have any intention in that. Isn't that treachery? That's treacherous because you led somebody into a false hope. That's treacherous. Oh my God, it put him in a bad position. Maybe it put him in a life threatening situation. Somebody's moving or you're doing something or you promised help and then you didn't do it, or they're waiting on the side of the road and you promised to pick them up. It would, and then you don't do it, or you're late or something. Now there are consequences, but my point is, you got a flat tire and you promise somebody to pick them up and it rains on them. That ain't your fault. Now, but if your tire was low and you should have pumped it up and you didn't, and then you had an issue, well, then that's something you could have foresaw and you didn't. But that's a strange analogy in that respect. But in the spiritual realm of things, it's okay to say no. That's our free will. So one of the things in my own life and understanding of things, I realized that there were times when I said no, but I realized, man, I don't know if I can really do this. And I mean, seriously, positively, spiritually, whatever it is, I may not need to go there because I don't know if I'm strong enough yet, or I don't know if I have enough information, or maybe this is going into something that, somebody's going to be cursing and hexing me, which I have gone through several periods of that, where people are actually, saying spells against me and trying to conjure demons to take me out. So, when you learn about that kind of stuff, you go, holy crap. So, I've been down that gamut. But the idea, though, that you got to keep your own self in it. So, and if you see something, then say no. Protect yourself. If you don't think you can do it, you're better off, because then you haven't misled anybody or created any kind of, somebody say, well, Hawkeye, you're using that word treachery. Are you sure about that? Well, when you understand what the outcome could be to a person, it's like torturous, treacherous, treachery. You get what I'm saying? It's torture. So there is treachery. You see where okay. And they're giving me the word. So I didn't choose that word, by the way, but it is treacherous because you're entering into be it a verbal agreement or however you want to look at it, and then you change your mind. That's like what? Now you had ulterior motives. Well, I thought I would help them out, but they were going to let me use their boat when we were done, or I thought they were going to take me camping, or they were going to buy me a yacht, or whoever. Make up something. But if you went into something with expectations and then realized, well, holy crap, I'm not going to get anything out of this, or that's treacherous. That's forethought, and shame, shame, shame. That ain't where we should be as spiritual beings. Okay, there should be no treachery involved, and that means when I say I'm going to do something, I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. I'm going to ask for guidance and prayers, and anywhere where I need a little bit of help, I'm going to ask. And if it's true, it will come true because I have faith that it will. Now, there are things that, can go wrong in any situation. But then again, do you have enough faith that you can adapt to what the situation is? Or do you just throw up your hand and say, well, that's it. Do you give in? So you have a flat tire. Okay. But do you have a spare? And that's one of the things on this trip I made sure I had to make sure I had a spare for the trailer. Even though the tires were good, something said, if you don't take a spare, you're going to have a flat tire. And I was like, screw this. I bought a tire and said, I ain't going on the trip without a spare tire on the trailer. Didn't have a flat. Don't care. If I had a flat tire where we were at on the highway, it'd have been worth twice as much as what that tire cost me. Just saying. But the guarantee that I had, no, I took a spare. I ain't going to, wait. So I took care of a fear ahead of time, and so I had a flat tire. I had a spare. So in life and in spirituality, say, well, I'm going to do this to the best of my ability, and I've got enough awareness of myself and self-confidence and my own spirituality that if I've got a spare idea back here. If I run into a situation, I'm just going to have some more faith that an answer is going to come, and I'm going to go, yeah, okie dokie. I got this in my backpack. That's why I'm kind of like doing this. I got a spare something in my backpack, and my air mattress got a hole in it. I got a patch kit. You know what I mean? So the best we can do is prepare ourselves spiritually and other ways too, go camping, make sure you got a couple of things, um, and be prepared. As a Boy Scout, it's always be prepared. Now I'm too prepared. I take too much crap, but I'm ready for about any damn thing. So, but to the point though, in my life and what has led me around, and some of the things I have in my truck, if I stop and help somebody, I might have something they exactly need. There was one time we broke down on the side of the road up in Tennessee and had busted one of them serpentine belts and it was on a bus, and I was following a friend of mine, and we were headed to a powwow. She made drums and flutes and things, and I was helping her, and we were headed down into Georgia to do a powwow, which we did. It's Sunday afternoon, nobody out there. I can't remember the road, but we're stuck in Tennessee, right? And the belt breaks. Well, we find a belt, but these things, these serpentine belts are held on by a large spring, and there's a pulley that pushes against the belt to keep it tight. Okay, they're not really that hard to change out, but the thing is that there was this spring that was so hard, and I didn't have any kind of pry bar or anything like that. So I go up to this Pizza Hut place. We order a pizza, and the guy says, "Hey, I got some stuff in the back," and he goes, "Look, I got a piece of plastic pipe. Maybe you could put that over your wrench." And I'm like, "A piece of plastic pipe? I need a pry bar." And he goes, "Well, try it. What do you got to lose?" So I go get this piece of plastic pipe from around the back of this Pizza Hut shop on the side of the road in Tennessee. And I go, and it fits over the thing. I yank on it. I pull on it. Guess what? It worked. What? A piece of plastic pipe on the, oh my God, it worked. And we were back on the highway and down the road, bought another pizza, treated the guy, said, "Thank you, oh my God." But the idea though, that you got to have faith. Is this going to work? Well, I'm going to give it a try. Versus, that's stupid. That'll never work. Well, wait, hang on now. Some of us rednecks have got some pretty strange ideas, but they've gotten us out of a hole or two. Just saying. So, but in the spirituality of stuff, in whatever mission comes our way, we believe in yourself and be honest. I could probably do that. It's going to be an inconvenience, but it may be good in the long run. Now, if you put your life in danger, there are a lot of variables, but the thing is that it's not so much the big things that I'm trying to get the point across. Yes, they occur, but it's the small things that we miss every day. And they're pounding me in the head and kicking me in the shins right now, saying, remind these good, kind folks. Hello, Delaney, and Truth in Me, Pamela, Chloe, Delaney, and Ultraviolet Flame. Hey, howdy to all of you. But it's very much in the subtle ways, so that when it's best. Anytime I've ever, especially in these last 15 or 20 years, that I have been learning about positive speech, about how to interact with people differently than trying to force my opinion on them, and all this kind of stuff. And I realized that there is just some subtle ways that you can smack them in the head so hard by just asking simple questions. Like, well, this is this and that's that. Well, why do you believe that? What? Well, what makes you think that that's true? It's not that you don't say, well, I think you're stupid. You say, well, I'm trying to understand, why do you think that's true? What makes you believe that? So now they have to explain it to you. And in the explanation to you or to me, they sometimes, well, I'm not quite sure why I believe that way. Well, I heard it somewhere and I'm not quite sure. Well, then they start to question, well, maybe meh. So you get your point across in a very subtle, offhanded way. It's very much like that. So, but remember, thank you, my friends. I'm at the risk of repeating myself again in some certain things. We do have control over the situation because of our intent, and I can many things I could try to stress, but they're asking me to repeat this to y'all. You have to do it without any expectations. You gotta do it with, here, I give this freely. Could something come back? Yeah. But you gotta do it without expectations. That, there years ago there was this movie out, The Secret and all this stuff. That this is basically the secret. You have to give without expectations. You forethought and don't be stupid, but when you do, you got to give it 100%. You got to give it with free will. You have to give it without any reservations. That's part of the secret. That's part of the deal. But does it work? Oh, yeah. It works in little subtle ways. Now, if somebody gave me $1 million, I'd be broke at the end of the month because I'd be done figured out ways to put people to work and give money and do things and stuff. I would personally be broke. Don't care about that because what's more important, I can't take $1 million with me into the next realm, you know, but I could use that money to help other people in sorrow and pain and so forth in this realm. But I would do it with, because what did I expect out of it? Nothing. I would give it with free will, you know. Well, I expect somebody to go thanks, but maybe, that's about it. But, even if I gave somebody, 10 grand and said, here's $10,000. Well, if they just turned around and walked away, I'd go, well, I did the best I could, no expectations, no, well, wait a minute. Don't I deserve something back? Wait a minute. If you're going to give it with free will and, then you can't expect anybody, whatever comes back, you just, So, and that's a toughie to learn. But remember, work on the small things, my friends. I love you all. I do. Truth in me, or I thought, wait, let me put on my glasses and read a little bit here. Y'all are so kind, so considerate. Thank you all. At the Murphy's Law Firm. Delaney says, I live down the street from Murphy's Law Firm, and there's a car crash every day in front of it. do they put out some of those little spiky things? Just saying, anyway. Hi, Delaney. Ultraviolet flame going back up. Ultraviolet says, better to leave things open so higher self can guide. Absolutely. It's the understanding of all things. It's like for native peoples, okay, indigenous people close to the earth, they see a feather, they realize it's a gift from God in a way. The feather, whether they actually did or not, that's not the understanding. The understanding is that even small things are gifts from Creator. All things are gifts if we look at them that way. So, yeah, Pamela says, it's kind of like you knew the job was dangerous when you took it. That's absolutely, part of the deal. If before you accept the mission, make sure that you know what your options are. But like I said, in the grand scheme of things, the last thing that you need to do. Now, there are some times where personal, safety or health or something, you got to pull out. Now, and I'm not talking about those kind of instances, but if you just like, well, this is too inconvenient for me. No, 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 no. There are always extenuating circumstances, and the universe gets that. You know what I mean? So just to kind of go back over some of that. Chloe, let's see. Truth in me. All right. Somebody's guilty of something, but singing bowls. Yeah. Balance is the key. And it feels incredible in my space. Oh, talking about getting rid of clutter. Yeah, me too sometimes. I'm working on that myself, by the way. But anyway, um, Ultraviolet says discernment goes way up when we learn there are people who will take and never grow. We have to know when to say yes and when to say no. And I absolutely agree with the ultraviolet. And there are sometimes we have to say yes, but only in the short term. Like the story I told in one of these about the person who was about to freeze to death in the cold. So I took this person in for the short term, but I did not agree to a long term. Listen, I'm taking you in, and you got a free place to live, and blah. No, 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 no. But to keep them off the street for a couple of nights, give them something hot and feed them, and make sure that they're warm and safe. Yes. So sometimes we do things in the short term, but that don't mean we're in this for the long haul. So yes, and I agree with you. Discernment. But sometimes, like, it's just exactly that. We can accept part of the assignment, if you will, like, well, I can only do this much of it, but I will do this much of it because this is all I'm capable of doing. And leave it at that. So you may not help someone over a 2 month period, but if you give them 3 or 4 days of a warm meal and they don't freeze to death, that could help them out in the long run. So, but anyway, I just use that as a story because it's happened several times. I brought folks into my house because it was cold or whatever. So, and I would do it again. There's no sense in freezing to death. So Truth in Me says, I hear this. Yes, someone was moving, got injured, the planet, and could no longer walk and felt attached because I told the person beforehand I had some studies to do. Yep. I got it. Returned a lot of it. Yep. Okay. Murphy's Law Firm. I love it. There was another. Oh yeah. The attorneys. Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. Yeah. We used to work for those guys. In fact, I worked for a property management company in Thomasville, and I walked in one day. There was 150 properties, and I was the maintenance man and so forth. And so I walk into the office one day to find out what my assignments are, and I met with 2 FBI agents, and come to find out that one of the attorneys at the law firm that I worked for was under investigation for federal crimes of fraud and banking fraud and laundering and all kinds of stuff with a big banking crisis they had down here in South Georgia at one time. So, I'm coming off the street, and I'm like, and these 2, sure enough, FBI guys like, Mr. Noel, you work for these people? And yes, sir. And, come in the office with us. Oh, holy shit. Well, what do you know about these properties? What do you know about this? Well, as I was working for them, I realized they were changing everything out of his name into his wife's name. So, when the FBI is asking me about this lawyer, who, by the way, served time and they took him off and found him guilty, should have been too, Ratfink. But anyway, so he bought some of those properties with slouchy money from a local bank when he didn't really have the collateral. So he'd borrow twice as much money as the property was worth, squander the rest of the money, not fix up the house, trying to rent it to somebody, and then pay me a cheap salary to try to keep the damn thing, floors rotted. It was horrible. Talk about a slumlord. He needed to go to jail. But, being met with the FBI in a little town like Thomasville, and under a federal banking fraud charges. Oh, my God. And I was in there. Yeah, I've been in some strange circumstances in my lifetime just because of where I was or who I worked for. So the idea of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe or Murphy's Law Firm, yeah, I kind of get that, you know what I mean, just from some of my own personal experience. But I think back, I like to drop the gold one in my drawers when I walked in there and those FBI guys were there. I ain't lying, because I had just smoked a big one, and I know I smelled like it. And the last people in the world I was expecting was FBI guys in the office where I normally the person that's in there smokes too. So, if they smelled a little something on me, wasn't no big deal. But two FBI guys, look like, holy shit. And here I am, have, two sheets in the wind, smoking a big doobie, going to go out and fix somebody's, house or something and have to talk to the FBI. But anyway, Ultraviolet says, I really appreciate your insights, and you're very welcome, Ultraviolet. And that's all I'm here to do, is to just show another point of view. Let's think about this. And you know me, you guys hang out with me, I got some really strange point of views. But I also listen a lot of times, that's my wisdom, to the angel messages, to my spirit guide. And they're like helping me out all the time. So my wisdom is I listen. So, Truth in Me says, my situation was definitely complicated. Lots of expectations from both sides, traps, felt it and said it was all a mistake and went back to help because I promised. Oh, LOL, I would have liked that now. Hi, 5D. Yeah, you're back too as well. Yeah, the situations like that, Truth of Me, I absolutely fully understand that. And sometimes, now here's something. We accept a mission, but then you find out the other side is being treacherous. So now you've agreed to something with good faith. And so any type of agreement that you make in good faith. But what if the other person's lying to you? So, and which kind of brings up a really good point. Thank you, Truth in Me. So what if the other person's being treacherous? So you go in this thing with good faith, but all along as you go along, they're actually kind of working against you or creating issues and things. And we know how that works out. So what's to say that, well, wait a minute. If that were the case and the other party has ulterior motives and or treacherous thoughts or activities, dishonorable, does that mean that your contract that you agreed to is, wait a minute, I didn't agree to this? So does that mean that now you can back out? Well, that's sort of your leeway. But if you start in something and you just find it inconvenient, that's different. But if somebody's being treacherous that you're trying to help, and every time you turn around, it's just like, with this, that's different. So that's where earlier on somebody said discernment is important. I think it was you, Ultraviolet. But yes, that's where the discernment comes in. And yes, you've got the opportunity to say, well, screw this and get out of it. But as a spiritual person, if things are going along pretty okay, the other person is sincere, but you drop out, that's more what I'm talking about. But yeah, there are a crap load of different circumstances and situations and outcomes, and but the discernment is in that how you read the other person. Because my mistake in past events has been, well, I really thought I read this person right, when actually they were crooked as hell. They were cheating and lying from like the get-go. But I was like, I'm going to have faith in this person's no, they weren't being honorable from the first second. They had dishonorable intentions from the get-go to lie and cheat and steal from me. But I was like, oh, but I fell right into it. And that's where I didn't listen to my heart. I didn't listen to my spirit guide, who was tapping me on the shoulder with a baseball mallet, going, hey, pay attention here. Yeah, this guy ain't what he says he is. And, that's through learning and so forth. And when you get into a situation like that, where the other person's lying, cheating, and stealing, wait a minute, this is not what I agreed on. So can I pull out of the situation and kick your ass out of the car? Sorry, you're walking the rest of the way. You know what I mean? I was like, well, okie dokie. They negated the contract, if you will. The agreement, I'll help you, or, So, we're not always guilty if we pull out of a situation that's just turned crazy. But it's when we give up, when we like, well, I didn't know it was going to be this hard. Well, but yeah, but it's not really out of the bounds. Yeah, it took a little longer, maybe, or something was a little heavier, or something was a little further, but it was just a little bit more of an inconvenience. And but so anyway, but you all people are absolutely wonderful, and you see by your discussions and by your own thought processes, you bless me with your thoughts because I don't ever try to get rid of them. You're part of the conversation. You're part of this greater process. We're all members of the League of Like-Minded Beings, as that goes. And I really get a kick out of that. I do. Um, Let me come back up here. Truth of Me says, feeling grateful for this chat. I always feel grateful when you all hang out. Ultraviolet, I feel like there are many ways to reach people because everyone is in a different places and so unique. It's curious how the universe, God works in mysterious ways we don't always understand. Exactly. And my whole try to process to explain some of this about, are you ready? Are you open? Is your angel mission? In other words, are you just aware that there are these other things out there that maybe you could help with simple things without committing to long-term stuff? There are simple things that we can do. So God, the universe does work in mysterious ways. And if we understand that we may be just one air bubble in the stream of consciousness, but when we add to it, and each of us adds a good air bubble to the consciousness, we create a change. It affects the whole. So why not? So it's not about, well, do I expect it? No, give to the universe freely, and we'll wait and see how it turns out. Truth of Me says, yes, that was what I was feeling like from their side. Exactly. Ultraviolet says, something that might work for one will likely upset another no matter what side. Agreed. And Ultraviolet, to that point, in trying to reach other people, asking the question to someone versus telling them how you think. Like, well, I feel that Trump is blah, 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 blah. Well, what makes you feel that way? So don't put any expectations. Let them figure it out for themselves. So you're not attacking them by asking them a question. If the question isn't a pointed one, well, I think you're stupid. Why do you think? No, don't put your feelings into it. Ask them a simple question and let them flounder around in it. But they may actually find footing. So, and they'll piss themselves off before you will. And that's my point. There are ways to get to people that you don't have to tick them off. Something might work for one, will likely upset another one. But if you ask a simple question, you may get a different reaction from both people, but neither one of them may get mad. That's an interesting point that I have learned. It's interesting, human nature. But I agree with the Ultraviolet. Truth of Me says, working 10 to 12 hours a day took its toll on my body. Oh, the rest of us too. My skies 5D, blessings to you. Did you see the rainbow skies over Portland? I don't live up there and missed that, but I do have friends up there that I miss. Yeah, we're all pieces of this puzzle, Miss Pamela. I agree. Truth of Me says, I did a reading for her, told her there was going to sell the house, and it did in 3 days. Boy, that's some good, solid advice there. Ultraviolet says, he wanted me to be his guide, and I even told him, I won't make you any promises because I listened to my higher self. Then he turned against me the next day. I'm glad I listened. Exactly, Ultraviolet. And like for my birthday, I was supposed to go the night before and spend the night with friends of mine. And I realized that Spirit told me, you need to stay home, Dave. And my daughter showed up a couple hours later as a surprise birthday present to me. Had I went and spent the night with as I had planned, I would have missed my daughter visit entirely. How crappy of a birthday would that have been? So I get it about listening. This has just happened to me recently. So I tell you my story because it's like, oh my God, to have faith, pay attention. This is just my experience. But when you have your faith, things start happening to you guys as well. Truth in Me says, I think you lied because of fear. Fear will make you do strange things. Absolutely, just weird, out of pocket, not nonsensical. Um, Ultraviolet says, I can feel when I'm being used. Yeah, there are some folks. There are some folks out there are damn good liars, though. But I think that some of the people who have deceived me are actually two different people in the same body. I mean, one person was honest, but the other person was devious, and they were both locked inside. I've had a few of those, but yeah. So one minute you're like, wait a minute, this feels genuine, and the next minute you're getting like bent over good. But truth to me, thank you for helping me. I was feeling pretty bad about the situation. Know that know that you're never alone. All of you, we're not alone in this. Pamela, Delaney, Ultraviolet, Truth, and me, we are not alone. You know, there have been times where some of you folks just pop up in my head, and I send a prayer back. Don't know what it means, don't know what, but I realize it's helping the overall stuff. And I don't expect anything back, but you guys give me prayers. And just by hanging out with me, I mean, to understand this sharing business and how intense this actually is, understanding what we're really doing, this is going a long way, folks. And blessings to you, and I mean it, you guys. Um, Wait, I scrolled too far. Delaney says, did you see my vid featuring you and Brian Milky Way Messenger last night? No, Delaney, I missed it. I've been doing other things, but no, I missed it. I'll try to catch that. Thank you, though, for pointing it out. Was it good? I had a lot of fun with Brian last night. We always have a good time. Pamela says, I can't always less actually touch the person. Once I physically touch someone, they cannot hide their true intentions. Yeah, Pamela, I've learned to be better at that myself. Ultraviolet says, every little thing we do makes a difference, even when it comes to self love and giving in balance. Absolutely. And that's part of this grand understanding of things and our angel mission. If we just understand that just be the best we can be, that's actually enough. But if we want to slouch and, well, I don't know if it really makes any difference, and we want to shove it up, that's not being our true selves. We don't necessarily have to go out of our way, but just be the best that we can be. Just be like in the army, blah, 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 but to be the best angel being, to understand I am an angel being. I have a spirit. I'm just going to be the best I can be. And that's actually enough. But when we see that we may be able to help out or kind words, that's even better. So, when we understand that basic concept, oh man, and things are changing. You guys, I know. Agreed, Ultraviolet. Everything we do is magic. Right, Pamela. Good song. Learning to speak one's truth is one thing, and to hear that truth is a whole different matter, says Truth in Me. And that's absolutely agreed. Hello again, Aurora Rain, and blessings back to you. It's absolutely true because, having the faith, you can say, well, I can climb this rock. Well, but can you? You have enough strength in your fingers? Are your arms strong enough? You're going to pull your shoulder out? How good are your legs? Do you have tennis shoes that can grip onto the rock? Is the rock slippery because it's been raining? Is there moss on the rock? Oh, but I can climb this rock. But can you really? And, in life where there are pebbles, there are boulders, there are mountains we climb, or we perceive them to be mountains, you know. So sometimes things get in our path that seem insurmountable. But then if you step back and go, well, you know what? I got a stick over here or a big iron bar, and I got this smaller rock, but there's this crappy boulder in the way. But I know how to use leverage. So I take the smaller rock and this big steel rod, and I use leverage and I push that boulder out of the way. Now it's not an issue. So you say, well, wait a minute, but there was a boulder in the path. Yeah. And to many other people, oh my God, we can't get around. There's a boulder in the path. And then there are those of us that go, ah, crap, there's a boulder in the path. All right, where's me a lever? Where's me a tree stump? Where's me a pole? Where's me something I can move this thing with? Versus, oh my God, we can't go on. No, I'm one of the people that says, okay, there's a rock in the road. Son of a, I hate rocks in the road. But I also know that let's look around. Okay, Joe, you and me, we're going to get this piece of limb over here, and Jack, you get that thing over there, and we're going to push this rock out of the way. Now it's not in the way anymore. So how do you look at this? Rocks in the road, insurmountable, can't get around it. Oh my God, I quit. Or do you look for a solution? Do you look for help to fix the solution? It's up to us. Many choices. Oh crap, there's a rock, gotta go back. Well, there goes our vacation. Screw it, Really? Seriously? So, but in life, that's the way it is. And in our spiritual growth, it's the same way. There are folks that I've seen get stopped by the smallest of pebbles, in my humble opinion, and then turn into, a mountain the size of Mount Everest, like what? You gonna let that stop you? Slow you? What? Yeah, I don't know, man. This thing, so I don't understand. I can't get around it. I'm so confused. It's like, well, then, blessings to you. And if you need some help within reason, I'll try to help you out. But okie dokie. I'm going back. Okie doke, headed back down the trail. And anyway, I continue to pray for these folks because, regardless of whether or not I agree with them or they, a lot of people don't agree with me, which is okay. I know that that's part of my job. I got to be the instigator of weird thoughts. So, but with that said, though, so if somebody doesn't agree with me, it's your choice. It's all right. I'm not offended. It's when you start saying, "Why, you're a stupid mother." Well, even that, I go, well, okay, you got an opinion here, but I'm still not gonna. I used to get pissed off at it, but not anymore. That's the part of growth, the spiritual growth and the understanding that, hey, wait a minute, wait. Cuss all you want at me now. Call me an idiot. It's okie dokie. Everybody's got a butthole, and just like opinion, so we all got one. So, so your butthole is bigger or smaller or smellier than mine. I don't care, but to the point though, so your opinion is different. Okie dokie. I got some wipe for you though. Had to throw that in there. Being a little crazy this morning, but it's been a long 2 weeks. lots of wonderful, crazy things happening, but you guys are great over here. Delaney says, I'd be sad when people do me bogus. Yeah, that's just wrong. And it's like, if you got to tell me a lie to get what you want, just tell me what you want and I'll work it out. It's my decision. But if you got to lie to me to get some, no, just go ahead and just tell me, you don't have to be rude about it, but hey, let's talk. But, yes, the solution seeker and doer. Thank you, Truth in Me. Good seeing you, Ultraviolet. Yep. High five. My sky is 5D. Greens and crimson sunset tonight. Crazy. Perfect view from work. Crimson rainbows. We had some interesting skies tonight. I call it the yellow time. It's when everything outside, the greens don't really look green, they kind of have a yellow tint to them. And here recently, these last couple of years, there's certain times of the night and certain phases of where the sun and the clouds are that there's everything has a yellow tint. Just saying. But my friends, Aurora, Rain, good to see you. Ultraviolet, my sky. Uh, Blessings to all of you. I have been on and off of this thing for several hours now tonight, and I have a butt cramp. Seriously. Ow, wow. But anyway, and I think I've made my point. You all are wonderful people to hang around with. You really are. And my promise with the spirit guides is that my job is to make sure to find things every day, every other day, whatever it is, even if it's just a short message. We need to pat each other on the back for a job well done because nobody's doing it for us. You know, if you've helped somebody out today, did anybody come up to you and say, well, truth in me, good job, you helped somebody out today? Or ultraviolet, you know, you helped somebody out, or did anybody pat you on the back for a job well done? Well, as part of my job, I need to be the person as one of the spokesperson to say, job well done, you folk. You guys are doing the best that you can do. You're being aware. Job well done. It ain't my job, your job. You're the ones that are doing this. You're the ones that are helping to bring this about. I'm a spokesperson. I'm a communicator. That's part of my job. But you guys are getting it done. You are the ones out there helping to spread this and to share it. And you're the ones that are changing your own opinions and going, well, maybe I should look at this differently. Maybe there's another point of view. Or now I've done something and I see the benefit. You guys are talking about it. So you are the result of this communication. But it's your actions that make whatever I talk about a reality. What? It's you guys. Yeah, I'm the spokesperson. It's you guys. You need to pat on the back. You are the ones that are doing the grunt work. And from my standpoint, the angels are saying, job well done. Keep up the good work. That's the message. We need to keep this up. We need to learn how to perfect what we're doing. We need to learn how to continue the cooperation between us so that, you know, our psychic connections are so close, we don't even have to type messages to one another. We've learned how to communicate in the quantum. What? You all know it's possible. You all know we've done it in different levels, one way or the other. So you all are the ones that need the pat on the back. And this evening, earlier, they was like, Hawkeye, you need to tell these people they're doing a really good job of this. Under the circumstances, if you guys are doing great. And for all of those people who are honestly seeking, not trying to make some kind of cover story, but who are honestly seeking a higher spiritual, you know, awareness and to help other people, etc., to find their angel beings, they need a pat on the back too, because there's so much spiritual warfare going on. Angels ain't got time to come back down and pat everybody on the back. Oh, you did a good job. We ain't got time. The war is on. It's on, and you all know it's on. So, but you know, now I know y'all could say, well, Hawkeye, who the hell are you to say that you can say job well done? We need to say it to each other. That's sort of the point. You got through a bad situation, job well done. Did you kill anybody? No. Did you maim anybody? No. Did you steal from anybody? No. You got through it? Yep. Job well done. No matter what it is, big or small, whether you saved somebody's life or whether you just gave them a smile and sent them on their way with a happy day, it's all valid because of your intent. So my applause to you all for your diligent work. You get the gold stars. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's keep up the good work. You hear my prayer all the time. I got a butt cramp. I'm trying to work it out while I'm sitting here. I'm wiggling in my chair here, man. But the idea, though, that to be able to communicate to one another and to be able to say, listen, whether you believe I'm actually talking with the angels or not, it's still job well done because we are all more together. We are seeing this positive outcome. So why shouldn't we say, reach our hand across the aisle and go, you know, we may not be of the same political affiliation, but job well done. Your point of view is a little different from mine, but we're trying to achieve a positive outcome. Job well done. Why not? Instead of looking at each other, going, well, I don't agree with your point of view, so no. We figure out solutions when we look at each other and go, we have certain things in common. Let's see if we can't work out the rest of it. I'm from Ohio and you're from New Jersey. There's differences, but we can get along, can't we? I'm from South Georgia and somebody's from Oregon. I've been to both places and trust me, it's different both places. Folks in Oregon are different than down here. Not to put any folks in Oregon. I have friends of mine in Oregon, but my point is, they're different realities, same planet, same United States, but folks in Oregon, folks in South Georgia, not the same. Because I got friends of mine from South Georgia that moved to Oregon, and they go, "It's not the same out here, Dave." So, but having traveled around and seeing that all these places are different, but it's the collective. We can still all get along? We can still all pat you on the back when there's a job well done. It ain't about who's better than the next guy. There are some people that can run like hell for 10 miles and not break a sweat. If I try to make it to the top of the driveway, I'm going to be heaving. I'm too old for that kind of stuff at the moment. But to the point, though, but I can paddle in a kayak forever, but I can't run anymore. So we all got our own talents. So in the spiritual realm, we all have our own talents in that respect too. And so there are some people that I know is like, well, I read tarot cards this way. Okay, fine. Well, somebody else reads something else over here differently. But are you getting a positive message out? Are you helping anybody? That's what's the bottom line to this. Does it matter exactly how we do things? If our outcome and our intentions are positive? There are certain things, and I'll bring this up just as a small example. I was listening to somebody on a channel, and they were talking about something about a medicine wheel. And I was like, yay, what medicine wheel? You got a medicine? Then he said something about that he goes out there and sometimes he'll actually pour a beer around his medicine wheel. And I was like, oh, I would never do that. Oh my God, disrespect to a medicine wheel. But in his eyes, he was like, kind of a little on the Celtic side, if you will, versus Native American. But if you were to, tell a Native American that you were going to offer a bottle of beer to your medicine wheel, they would go, what? Don't do that. But to him, he thought it was perfectly fine. And I still kind of like, I don't know where his head was at with that, but he thought it was like, I'm offering beer and something, to the medicine wheel, where that might not necessarily in certain cultures be the right thing. Was he wrong? His intention is good. So should I beat him up over it and go, hey, listen, man, I think you're a pissant for getting it. I kept my mouth shut. But I did say something like, are you sure that's a good idea? That's all I did. I asked a simple question. Are you sure pouring beer on your medicine wheel is a good idea? And left it at that. No comment. No, yes, it is. Yes, no, it ain't. But because I put a doubt in the form as a simple question, are you sure? That's all. If he's sure, then let it rock and roll. What business is it of mine if he wants to go around his medicine wheel and medicine circle, and pour beer on it? Not on mine. That's the difference. But am I going to criticize him for it? No. But anyway, I will point out that, are you sure? Check your intent. Anyway, my friends, after an hour and a half of this time around, I love hanging out with you guys, and you all are interchanging and everything. Ultraviolet says, "I know I live in Oregon. It's very weird here." I stayed well, a day and a half in Oregon, and it's not bad. It's just different. That's all, you know. And My Skies 5D, responsible, conscious co-creators of our new 5D reality. Absolutely. Ultraviolet says you always come down to intentions. Yep. Aurora Rain says, and that's weird. Beer for Bacchus. Yeah, Delaney Pearl. Truth in Me says, I love weird and perfect and prefer the unique. Yes. Outside the box thinkers by looking within. I've never heard of beer around the circle. Yeah, that just didn't set right with me either. Aurora says, beer makes me very, very sick. Actually, all alcohol, especially beer. How does one become a shaman? Truth in Me. If you're seeking spiritual awareness, you're a shaman in training. Now, if you're new to my channel, Truth in Me, then I have done a series of shaman in trainings. Pick a subject, I discuss it, and go through things and what a shaman's point of view would be on it. So I would suggest looking back through some of my videos that I have, especially when I have put a tag on it, a shaman in training. Yes, new to the channel. Okay, there's a lot of information that I've covered on a lot of different subjects that are already on my channel. Just go through and pick, and since they're already there, you can fast forward or whatever. There are sometimes I get, like now, I'm kind of off on a tangent from the subject, although we are still kind of in the same mode. But there are topics that I cover that some people are like, holy crap, I never thought about that. And sometimes it's in the conversation with the higher self to present it to you all that I understand it even better myself. So the teacher learns from their pupils or from teaching their pupils if the conditions are correct. So not trying to promote my own channel, but you're already subscribed. So, but to learn about it, go back through, please, and check out some of the titles that I've already, of many of the subjects I've already covered. And some of them I'm going to cover again because there needs to be some update with some of the new things that are actually happening to us now. So, but thank you, Truth in Me, for a subscriber and hanging out and all of that. Absolutely blessings to you. And I hope that some of the other videos I've done will enlighten you and help you to understand better, because you are already a shaman in training because you're seeking. That's what shamans do. They seek knowledge, they seek spiritual awareness, they seek how to help other people. A true shaman, not some fakey thing, but a shaman is to help heal spiritually, physically, mentally, whatever, and to help others in their training to understand so that they may learn this. So, but anyway, Aurora, according to my Mayan birth info, I would be trained in shamanism. See, you already are. That's in my past videos, Aurora. I don't know if you've seen some of my previous videos, but I always talk about it. I am a shaman in training, even though I've had special training with true medicine men and other shamans. I'm still a shaman in training. Whether I know more than the next person about certain things, it doesn't matter. Simply because you're not aware of it doesn't make me a better person. I just know a little bit more. Doesn't make me better. Doesn't make me a better shaman. I don't get a higher score in shamanism. Because if our intent is correct, even though we may know little about certain things, if we love nature and agree and live in harmony, we're already shamans, because that's the basic of it. It's the core values that we hold in our heart and our soul and how we present that, which makes a good shaman. Because without those core things, you ain't nothing. I mean, in that respect. So, but yes, blessings to you, Aurora. Michelle, hi there. Didn't realize that you were live again. Yeah, I'm. I had a dead spot there. you know, Truth of Me says, yes, I've felt that often. I love this. Blessings to you. Ultraviolet, thank you for not putting people in categories. It's very refreshing. There are no categories. You know, I may have a lot of information, but still be a dumbass. I can still do stupid things. It doesn't make me better than the next person. But so I've got more information. I may have more information, but then if I don't share it, I'm not a shaman. I don't follow the rules. And the unwritten rule is, as you learn, so you shall share. Because in sharing, you also learn. So it's this give and take and give and take. So where someone says, well, I'm new at this shamanism thing, I don't understand what it is. No, but by asking the question, you are already a seeker. There's already something in you that other people don't have. Otherwise, they wouldn't ask the question that you just asked. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes there's an old saying: those who are smart enough to ask a question probably already know the answer. So if you are having feelings of shamanism or wanting to understand or something, then there's probably something maybe from a previous life or a soul journey or whatever that brings you to this. And I don't mean necessarily to this spot, but sometimes it is to this spot. This coincidence, this group collective, these 10 folks that it shows are together now in this chat room and listening, this little group here, we're having an effect. And because we're here, we're members of the League of Like-Minded Beings, we're already a part of the shaman group. Accept it. It's part of the faith. It's part of that core value. So welcome aboard. It's the realization, oh, holy crap, I'm a spiritual being. I wish to do good things. I'm already a shaman in training. Ta-da! The rest is immaterial. You can help people. How do I put this? If somebody falls down and they obviously need help getting up for whatever reason, you don't have to be an EMT to go over and help them get up. If they stumble on the curb, or little old man like me stumbles across the road and you see me fall in the middle of the highway and there are cars coming, you go, oh, I can go help this person. Well, thank you, Jesus. You come over and help me up, and, kept me from being run over by a semi. But you didn't have to be an EMT to do it. You don't have to be a nurse or a doctor or somebody trained to go help certain people in certain circumstances. So in shamanism, in the spiritual realm, it is very much the same way. You don't have to be a high teacher if you understand that to love and to be human and to be kind and to be honorable and to be trustworthy. Wait a minute. So I don't really need to know all the languages and the secret words because I have love in my heart. Wow, you're a shaman right there. Believe it or not, because if you share it, then you're sharing the energy, you're sharing the love, you're sharing the cosmos. Whoops, you're already a part of the group simply because you are already doing these things, or at least you wish to do these things. So, hey, welcome aboard. Oh my God, you mean I'm actually, yep, you are. You're a shaman in training. Welcome to the group, my friends, And I've been at this so long, I really want the cigarette, so. I know YouTube has a thing, oh, you're not supposed to smoke or something like that. No offense, but anyway, I love you folks, I do. And I've done a lot better with my smoking too, by the way. And I put them down when I would have normally smoked another one. So I'm really doing a lot better with my smoking of cigarettes. And I promise to try to even do better, but for my own self. But anyway, I'm one of my few vices I still have, and it's going. After 60, I've been smoking for 55 years, for God's sakes. It's a little hard to give up, especially when I don't smoke all the time. But anyway, let me come back up here and let's see. Yeah, okay, back to what Ultraviolet said. Thank you for not putting people in categories. I hate categories. And I did a whole thing to kind of make a thing about, it's like if you think heaven is the pearly gates and you think heaven is a gated community, then you're not in my realm because I don't want to live in a gated community in heaven. I want the expanse of the universe and beyond in all dimensions. So when people say, Hawkeye, do you think out of the box? In my realm, there is no box to think out of. That's how far out of the box I think. If you have to have constraints in your thought about spiritualism, about knowledge, about the universe, if you think there is any kind of box in that equation, you're not in my realm because there is no box in my equation. So, and I'm not trying to say that I'm better than you, but your reality uses a box. My reality, there is no box. So when you can understand my point of view, then maybe you can catch up. But if you want me to go backwards and go back to thinking that things in the universe are contained in boxes or something, I can't go back that way. Sorry. You in that respect, you're going to have to catch up with me. But I'll wait. I love you. I understand where you're going because I used to think in a box like that. And now there is no box. So I'm beyond that. Not better, but I understand something a little differently than you do. But I cannot go back in the box. That's all there is to it. You can get out of the box, but I ain't going back in it, and spiritually or thought wise or anything. So, but anyway, with that said, um, Truth to Me says, I would think that the training will never end till we choose to leave once we were done with our mission. If you truly understand the shamanism, Truth in Me, um, is that it never ends, never, because we're always trying to achieve a higher understanding of spiritualism in the universe. So this time around, for example, I'm Hawkeye. I'm a hermit that lives down in the swamps down here in South Georgia. My next time around, I might be, in the Pleiades constellation, flying a starship or something. I mean, and then after that, I could be in another dimension that I'm not even aware of that even exists. So, but in each of these realities, in each of these lives of our spirits and of our souls, the experience is, do we learn from it, or do we become evil and have to take our karma is bad and we got to work that crap out? eh. So the answer to that is that life, not just in this realm but in all realms and beyond this one, life is, we're always learning. We should always be seeking knowledge, not as a, well, I want this because I want power. No, knowledge for knowledge, just to know it. you know what's on the other side of the mountain, said, Lewis and Clark. I don't know, let's go see. you know it's the adventure of it. It's the adventure of learning. So shamanism and the spiritual part of it is gaining of that knowledge and using it in a spiritual way to pass it on, to be more a better person or another being from another galaxy. you know so that's why in my reality there is no pearly gates. It's the galaxies and the universe is expansive. So I want to experience these other things in these other lifetimes, in these other universes. So shamanism, if you really understand it, goes way beyond this realm. And we have been learning. That's why we're seeking to be shamans again. We've been shamans previously. That's why we're seeking this again in this life. So it's like, are we reliving it? No. But there are past memories that bring us together like now. What makes you want to even think about being a shaman or could be or whatever? Maybe it's a past life that's bringing itself forward now. It's your true angel self speaking to you. It's saying, you know what? You may have known some of this before. And now it's time for you to awaken and not necessarily relearn it, but kind of sort of read the book again and go, oh, crap, this makes sense to me. Oh, holy crap, you know? Anyway, Aurora says, I wish I could shaman this nasty cough I have. Well, there are ways, mullein, there are different herbs and things, but not knowing what it is. But yeah, and as a shaman, one of the things that you should expand upon is looking into plants and animals and things because in shamanism is the nature of all things. Constellations, it includes UFOs and aliens, but to understand the nature of nature, to understand the nature of human beings, which is really difficult, but the understanding that human beings are a strange lot, that's an understanding in itself. So, but anyway, um, Truth says, I feel like a dumbass half the time. The other half is questioning what I just did. I have lived a lifetimes of being a dumbass. So, but that's how you learn. You can look back and go, "Oh crap, was I a dumbass or what?" Do you learn from it and make the changes? Just saying. Random acts of kindness cost nothing. Exactly. Smudge sticks. There are smudge sticks. Yep, I got a smudge right here. By the way, but to your point, yes. Aurora says, if I see someone hurting, I literally have panic attacks. So much empathy. A guy at work had a seizure and almost had to be taken to the ambulance with him. I understand that, Aurora. And you know what? It's a hard thing to learn. And this may be, and I'm just suggesting this to you, but I had to learn to turn off the empathy because it was killing me. And so it's not that we have to shut it off and not be empathetic at all, but we have to be able to keep that energy because when, as you have stated there, that you had so much empathy, they almost had to take you with him. So there is empathy, and then there is doing harm to yourself, and it's a very I still have not issues or bouts, but there are situations that still arise that I have to go, oh, hang on here. Am I trying to put too much of me in this? I got to back off. I still love, I still care, I still pray, but sometimes allowing myself to get too into it, I lose myself and I don't do anybody any good. So you've already learned that. So, but it's a tough lesson to learn, Miss Aurora. And my heart's out with you and prayers to you. Ultraviolet says, agreed, boxes suck. Yep. The expansion is infinite. Absolutely, Ultraviolet. Heaven and hell is within. Uh, Aurora says, I agree, Lauren. And thank you. Your cigarette is a smudge stick. That's what you've been calling your cig. I haven't smoked much of it, by the way, and it's about to go out. But and my butt cramp is really cramping bad. So, but truth in me, I hope that this helps you and everybody else out as well. Check out my other videos. I very rarely, if ever, try to promote one of my previous videos, but I have covered a lot of topics that have helped a lot of folks out. So in that, I would say, go check out some things and allow your spirit to say, watch that one, and just allow it to happen. So anyway, I love you all. I do. Good morning. It's 2:20 here. It's 4:20 somewhere. Smoke if you got them, my friends. And I'm going to close with my prayers, and I really do honestly mean it. Aurora says, I need a cig so bad, but coughing too much. Well, just think of how good it would taste. Seriously, just pretend you're smoking, and you'd be surprised. It's cathartic. But anyway, I love you all. I do. Thank you for your time. Truth, yes, it has a feeling grateful for my guides right now. You make my evening. Blessings. Blessings to you. Much love to everyone, and thank you again, Ultraviolet. Thank you. So, continue what you're doing. Kudos, everybody. Let's keep up the good work. Let's keep up the learning. Let's. You can't even laugh. All right, a little side joke there. I continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to accept and receive the healings, the blessing, the wisdom, and the knowledge of the universe. I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, your relatives, and all of your relations will continue to accept and receive these blessings, the knowledge, the healing from the universe. And I continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept, receive, and share with your friends, your relatives, and anyone that you may meet. You never know when that's a special angel mission that you may affect someone's life. Understand that we have the power to continue to make these changes. Each one of us is a shaman in training. I love you all. Keep up the good work. And then until next time, blessings to all of you. Continue to share and accept and receive. And I love you all. Until next time, be safe, keep it between the ditches, and TTFN from South Georgia.